Okay, let's dive into this. You know that underlying creeping burnout? The kind that comes from constantly managing how you look online, checking every single notification, and just trying to keep up with whatever everyone else is doing in their careers? It's exhausting, right? Well, today we're opening up a mentor's playbook to tackle exactly that. But get this, our ultimate guide to beating modern digital burnout, it isn't some Silicon Valley tech guru. It's actually a 19th century philosopher named Ralph Waldo Emerson. In this explainer, we're going to see how his classic essay, Self-Reliance, holds literally the perfect roadmap for building an authentic, self-directed career in an era that constantly demands we just conform. We have got a lot of ground to cover. We'll start with the digital conformity trap, then trusting your internal compass and finding solitude in noise. After that, we'll dive into growth over curated consistency, authentic networking, and finally, your nonconformist career guide. Section 1. The Digital Conformity Trap. All right, so to fix the problem, we first need to actually understand it. We are living in an age of intense digital conformity, where managing a perfectly curated persona just completely drains the life out of our real careers. Emerson actually described 19th century society as a joint stock company, basically a setup where members agree to surrender their individual liberty just to secure their daily bread. And the number one virtue this society asks for? Conformity. Now flash forward to today. That joint stock company is powered by 21st century algorithms. Instead of demanding conformity just for bread, these digital systems demand it for likes, reach, and professional relevance. They absolutely want you to fit a specific mold, post at specific times, and echo specific opinions. And if you don't, well, you risk becoming invisible. Emerson really did not mince words about this kind of pressure. He wrote, "Society everywhere is in conspiracy against the manhood of every one of its members." And by manhood, he meant the individual integrity and unique humanity of every single person. Think about it. Today, we are completely swamped by glowing notification bubbles, we're constantly obsessing over arbitrary metrics, and we are weighed down by the exhausting expectations of the online crowd. This is exactly what Emerson was warning us about. Society, and right now our obsession with social media, forces us into this expected digital mold, pushing us away from our true selves just so we fit in. Section 2. Trusting your internal compass. So, the crucial point is, if the digital world is literally a conspiracy against our individuality, how do we fight back? Well, it starts with what Emerson actually means by nonconformity. He writes, "Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist." But let's be super clear here. This is not about rebellious teenage angst. It's not about being contrary just for the sake of being edgy or getting attention. True nonconformity is the mature and often incredibly difficult practice of keeping your individual integrity intact. It's about staying entirely true to your own internal moral compass, even when the algorithm, your peers, or literally the entire internet is pushing you the other way. Which brings us to one of his most powerful pieces of advice. Envy is ignorance. Imitation is suicide. I really want you to hear that. Imitation is suicide. When you copy another professional's career path, when you mimic a social media aesthetic just because it's trending, or when you just regurgitate someone else's bot leadership to sound smart, you are killing your own unique potential. You're ignoring the exact thing that makes you valuable. You absolutely have to take yourself, for better or worse, as your portion. See, Emerson argues that we place way too much value on what has already been done. We worship past sages, people like Moses, Plato, Milton, and today we worship modern influencers. But Emerson points out something brilliant. The highest merit of those great historical figures was precisely that they ignored books and traditions. They didn't speak what other people thought, they spoke what they thought. You have this single gleam of light flashing across your mind from within. And detecting and trusting that intuition, that is infinitely more valuable than copying the brilliance of others. You have to stop dismissing your own thoughts simply because they're yours. Let's move to Section 3, Finding Solitude in Noise. Now, trusting your internal compass is practically impossible if you can't even hear yourself think. Emerson writes, "The great man is he who, in the midst of the crowd, keeps with perfect sweetness the independence of solitude." Okay, in the 21st century, solitude doesn't necessarily mean running off to hide in a cabin in the woods. The crowd is literally in our pockets. It's the constant digital connectivity, the pings, the emails, those endless scrolling feeds. So solitude is actually a state of mind. It's your ability to maintain your own private thoughts and focus despite those constant notifications. It's about finding that quiet space inside yourself to evaluate your own beliefs without being instantly swayed by the reactions of your online network. It's about finding that quiet space inside yourself to evaluate your own beliefs without being instantly swayed by the reactions of your online network. Section 4, Growth over Curated Consistency. Finding that quiet space is absolutely vital for overcoming one of our biggest modern fears, the fear of contradicting our own carefully curated online brands. And this brings us to one of Emerson's most famous and honestly most freeing ideas. He says, "A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. To be great is to be misunderstood." We are so terrified of changing our minds in public, aren't we? We drag around the corpse of our memory, terrified that a new thought might contradict a tweet we sent 3 years ago, or maybe an outdated bio on our LinkedIn profile. But Emerson tells us that internal consistency, being true to who you are today, is vastly more valuable than maintaining some static, curated image. If growing means you contradict yourself, then contradict yourself. Don't let the fear of being misunderstood online stop you from evolving. Now, what's really interesting about this is how Emerson uses nature to explain this dynamic process of self-creation. Think about a rose. A rose makes absolutely no reference to former roses or better ones. It just exists perfectly in the present moment. Before the leaf bud even bursts, its whole life acts, and in the full-blown flower, there is no more. It doesn't sit around lamenting the past or standing on tiptoe trying to foresee the future. Clinging to a rigid digital brand? That's static. It's dead. But your true character is an organic, dynamic, living thing, and you need to let it bloom exactly as it is today. Section 5, Authentic Networking and Connection. This brings us to a massive pain point for so many professionals, the sheer, utter exhaustion of transactional online networking. If we're supposed to be so independent and self-reliant, how on earth do we build relationships in our careers? Well, Emerson offers a beautifully organic alternative. He assures us he shall have his own society. Think about it. We so often force networking. We ape the customs of the business world. We send these awkward cold messages to people we have nothing in common with just to climb a ladder. And we judge our success by vanity metrics like followers. But Emerson argues that true connection happens naturally. When you are on the line of your own authentic march, when you're doing the work that is genuinely yours, you will inevitably encounter others native to that exact same celestial latitude. Stop forcing connections just for appearances. Trust that by boldly pursuing your true path, you're going to naturally attract the right peers, mentors, and friends. It becomes a society based on real affinity, not just transaction. Section 6. Your Nonconformist Career Guide. All right, so we've explored the philosophy. Let's synthesize this into an actionable playbook. Consider this little snippet from a text called The Game of Life, which honestly echoes Emerson's philosophy perfectly. It says, "There is for each man perfect self-expression. There is a place which he is to fill and no one else can fill, something which he is to do which no one else can do. It is his destiny. You have a unique place. Literally no one else has your exact combination of skills, intuition, and perspective. The goal of your career shouldn't be to just squeeze into an existing slot, but to uncover that perfect self-expression." So here's the million-dollar question. How do you actually build an independent career in a hyper-connected world that is constantly screaming at you to conform? Let's break this down into a step-by-step roadmap so you can get started. Here is your 4-step playbook for making independent choices. Step 1. Detect your internal gleam. Really pay attention to what naturally draws your curiosity, totally independent of what's trending online. Step 2. Accept your divine place. Accept your unique talents and circumstances without constantly wishing you had someone else's starting line. Step 3. Speak your latent conviction. Don't hold back your good ideas just because they seem unconventional. When you speak your truth, it eventually becomes the universal sense. And finally, Step 4. Drop the curated persona. Just stop managing your image and start focusing entirely on the actual substance of your daily work. And to make this a real habit, I want you to try these specific nonconformist exercises this week. Number 1, record your honest thoughts daily. Do it offline, where literally no one can judge them. Number 2, practice ignoring the sour faces of the crowd. Emerson noted that the crowd changes its mind as the wind blows, right? So don't let a negative comment or a lack of likes push you off your path. Number 3, carve out time for daily digital solitude. Turn off the pings and just exist with your own thoughts. And number 4, uncouple your self-worth from your past actions. Give yourself full permission to grow, to change your mind, and to contradict your old self today. At the end of the day, this all comes down to a fundamental choice about how you want to live and work. Will you continue to surrender your liberty, your unique genius, and your peace of mind to the joint stock company of social media and societal expectations? Or are you ready to finally trust yourself? Look, the digital age gives us some incredible tools, but you have to be the one steering the ship. Trust that internal gleam of light, embrace your nonconformity, and go build a career that is genuinely, authentically yours.